I'm Emily from Sustainable Salons. I'm the Customer Success Manager here in Victoria. I am a hairdresser myself, so I am a bit of a talker and I love to see faces. So if you're happy to come and share your cameras, I'd love to see you. But if you don't, that's fine too. So I'm here to talk to you about sustainability. Thanks, Barney. And what we do here, as Barney mentioned, he has given you a bit of an overview about what we do as a company. We take 95% of Salon's waste, which is now a resource, and we divert it to, on-sell it, to recycle it, and to close the loop and to make new products with that, which is absolutely amazing. So I'm going to share my screen with you. I was having some technical difficulties, as you are aware, this morning, so my apologies for that. So I know Monique will be jumping in if my video doesn't play, but hopefully we'll be all good there. So just let me share my screen with you. Okay, and I know that you're now able to share your screen also if you'd like to. Okay, host disabled participant screen sharing. So Monique, I might need you to jump in and just share my, oh, here we go. Thank you.
Yeah, just let multiple hosts, so that should be good.
Okay, I'm on now. Fabulous. There we go. So can everyone see my screen? Fantastic. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm a hairdresser myself. I've been in the industry for almost 30 years. I actually worked that out last night and freaked myself out. So it's a little bit of a shock. But in that time, I have, I've been guilty of like putting all of my waste into the bin and trying to do the right thing with recycling, but really didn't have an option to know where it was going and what was doing, what I could do with my waste and consider it a resource now. So Sustainable Salons has been born, but I'm not going to go too much further into it. I'm going to play you a video now with Paul and Evelina, our co-founders of Sustainable Salons, and they're going to give you a little bit of an overview of us, and then I'll come back to you.
Hi, Emily. This is just production here. I might just share, we're having a little bit of trouble seeing your video playing at the moment. So I'm just going to share your presentation for you.
Sure. Do I need to do anything on my end?
No, that's okay. We'll share it for you. Just let me know when you want to move to the next slide. Thank you, everyone, for bearing with us.
Thanks.
Emily, it's because it's Monday. If it wasn't Monday, everything would be smooth.
It's all good.
I think this should be working now, though, so don't stress.
Can you hear anything?
Sustainable Salons is
go.
a comprehensive resource recovery service that diverts % of resources from landfill. We service
Barney,
salons, barbers, beauty, and
are you there?
The video's playing all good.
Okay, so who's got control of the PowerPoint now?
We recycle hair, metals,
I think Jane behind the scenes does. But it seems to be playing. So.
Cardboard, glass, razors, tools, and even more. What do we do with all these materials? We collect and sell foils, colour tubes, spray cans, and even the metals from your salon tools. 100% of the proceeds from collecting these materials is donated to Oz Harvest and Kiwi Harvest. $1 equals 2 meals, and so far we've provided over 143,000 meals. All paper collected goes to local recyclers to make recycled paper products. We've been studying hair for 5 years and we're on a mission to turning it into a future resource. Hair can make some incredible things like hair booms, which contain and absorb oil spills at land and sea. It can even be used for fertilizer, water filtration and technology. We are the largest collector of ponytails for the medical wig market in the Southern Hemisphere. Our ponytails are donated to charities and direct to wig makers who make medical wigs for people living with alopecia or cancer. It takes 20 ponytails to make a medical wig, and so far we've donated over 90,000 ponytails. Plastics are separated, collected, cleaned, pelletized and turned into products like NBN cable cover, outdoor furniture, dog leash handles, even glasses. Chemicals in a salon environment are highly toxic and can end up in our waterways. We collect and recycle salon chemicals to recover the water, which can be used in manufacturing. We have 6 depots all over Australia and New Zealand, with 4 of them fully operated by people with a disability. This creates jobs for 23 supported employees while giving them independence, opportunity and a real income. We are the #1 salon directory service with 3,000 consumers looking to book a sustainable salon every month. We speak to over 3 million conscious consumers each year through the Green Chair, which helps educate your clients about the great impact your salon is making. We help you become a part of your local community. We host and support events that help you look good, feel good and do good. As a member, you'll be joining our rewards program, which gives you access to sustainably minded products like biodegradable gloves, refoil and much more. If you want to make a positive impact, be found by consumers, give back to the community and get rewarded, become a sustainable salon now.
Okay, so thank you so much, guys. Sorry, we had a bit of technical difficulty with that video, but it is a really exciting company to work with. As you can see, Paul is very passionate about sustainability and about our movement forward. And it's such a necessity because within our industry alone, the waste of foil and metals is exceeding 1.5 million tonnes per year. So with Paul and Evelina finding that out and realising there needed to be a better solution for this, that we needed to become more sustainable, you know, obviously Sustainable Salons was born. So absolutely move over waste distributors, the green disruptors are here. So we are moving forward with this. So thanks, Jane. We'll go on to the next slide. So what's going on here? Sustainable Salons is all about making a difference, finding pathways for our industry to move forward and to make changes and do the right thing and feel good about what we're doing. You'll hear me saying constantly throughout this presentation, sustainability is about people, planet and profit. So the 3 things combined create that you know, sustainability that will work and we'll move forward. So I want you know, everyone to get on board. So if you have questions at the end of the presentation, we'll have an open mic session, I'm sure. So hang on to them and let me know when you're ready to go forward. Okay, we'll go on to the next slide now. Okay, so I'm sure all of you out there have seen the fabulous Craig Rucastle show, War on Waste, that aired in 2017. That show on the ABC actually highlighted some issues about our waste and our overconsumption of goods. And I think what it did was really shed light in key areas and made us aware. And hopefully everyone who is on today has actually seen that and actually changed some things that they can do at home or at work, because we all know small changes make big change. So just to give you some facts about that, from 1950s up to the 2018, an estimated 6.3 billion tonnes of plastic has been produced worldwide, of which an estimated 9% has been recycled, another 12% has been incinerated. As of 2020, the global mass of produced plastic exceeds the biomass of all land and marine animals combined. So that's kind of a crazy thought for us. You know, I don't know if you go out there and sort of do a bit of picking up of plastics around the waterways. I know that my children, both in primary school and high school, are very sustainably focused minded. My eldest son, who's in year 10, went down to the local waterways and the whole classroom went down there And within half an hour, they did pick up 26 garbage bags full of plastic that's just floating there. And I know we all get freaked out by this, and I do too. But I suppose what we do our end is we make sure that all the plastic gets repurposed, it gets recycled properly. It has another life to live. And that just means a benefit for the environment. And there's also other knock-on benefits as well that we'll talk about in a moment. So thank you for that, Jane. We'll move on. So this is a really interesting statistic here, and it's from the young people about what are they sweating, what are they thinking about? And the main thing they're looking at from the Junkie Media's youth research in 2020 is that second from the top there, 70% of us are thinking about sustainability and the environment, only beaten by mental health. We all know last year was crazy with COVID. It was unprecedented, as we all heard a lot. And we all had our own, I suppose, growth that happened in that period too. But sustainability, I suppose, really became sort of more in the forefront again, because we just can't keep going the way that we're going. So we do need to disrupt what's happening. We need to make that change. So it's interesting that the young generation are definitely thinking that, and the Kardashians are right down the bottom. Thankfully, sorry, Kardashians, if you're on. So anyway, thanks, Jane. So here is Sustainable Salons. So basically, we began our journey in 2010 with Evelina Sirocco and Paul Frasca taking a journey around Australia. They took the waste of 160 salons and they sorted it through it, like you saw on the War on Waste back in 2010 for us. And they worked out what was going on in our industry. Some of you may be hairdressers who are coming on today, some of you may not, but our foil consumption alone in our industry, as I mentioned before, exceeds 1.5 million tonnes of aluminium, which is an infinitely recyclable product, ending up in landfill. So it's quite incredible. 500,000 tonnes of aluminium also in landfill for New Zealand as well, which is interesting because Sustainable Salons does go across Australia and New Zealand, which is fantastic. So we're stopping that process as much as we can with our members, and obviously then, you know, redirecting it into recycling streams, which is fantastic because it is an infinitely recyclable product. And it's amazing. So not only with aluminium is a major waste product for us, but also plastics and chemicals and other parts of our industry. So we'll go through those individually in a moment. Okay, so we'll move on to the next one. Oops. Sorry, I just can't see the presentation at the moment. Okay, so I'm sorry, I just can't see the presentation.
Right now you're on the We Recycle with all of the different icons. So that's the...
Thank you very much. Okay, so as you can see, we recycle so many different parts of our industries, which is amazing. So we recycle chemicals, so chemical waste, we recycle razors, metals, so any of the hair canisters that we use, like hairsprays, etc. Foil is a big one, as I've spoken about. We also take razors, if anyone's having razor haircut, or, you know, obviously beards, etc. We take those and we recycle those. An interesting one there is hair. I will show you some things that I've got with that. So hair, which we would normally just put into the bin, now has another purpose, and we can find out the cool things that we do with that in a moment. We also take plastics. We take paper, because obviously in our industry we have lots of boxes that come in and packaging, etc. So we do take that kind of stuff also, and many other different recycling options. Thank you. Okay, so
go ahead, Emily. We can see the PowerPoint. So it's the Sustainable Slides Impact slide.
Okay, Fantastic. So far to date, we have collected 143,200 kilos of plastic have been kept in circulation. So I did hear Barney saying about that closed loop. We are all about that. So we take the plastic and we bring it and give it to a second life. We have also kept 28,700 kilograms of hair out of landfill and created hair booms with that. So if you think about that on a scale of how big that hair is, that hair ball, it's quite impressive and quite large. We have also kept 188,600 kilograms of metal in circulation. So I suppose as a customer success manager, I have an affinity with a couple of our resource streams, and obviously metal is a big one for me, and also hair, because I just find those figures staggering and I'm really impressed by them. Okay, the last one is 193,700 kilos of paper has been recycled locally also, which is amazing. So it's nice to know those stats. And when we have our members, we do go through their statistics for the year of what they've actually done within the salon and how they have made a difference. So this is all about the planet part, about our sustainability, and everyone gets on board with that, which is amazing. Okay, thank you. So as I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, plastic is a huge problem, not only here, but globally. Some researchers suggest that by 2050, there could be more plastic than fish in the oceans by weight. All the plastics collected here at Sustainable Salons are recycled into things like underground cable covers and consumer products, such as glasses, which we're going to have a look at in a minute, pet leashes, and outdoor furniture. So I'm just going to show you these whilst I have you here. So this is a pet leash from Hijack. So this is made out of 100% recycled plastics, and it's actually a really cool product there. And I also have, sorry guys, if I just drop down, these very cool coasters from Defy, made out of hairdressing recycled plastic, which is great. So talking about that closed loop and knowing that you can actually repurpose recycled plastic, and it's a cool product to have. Fantastic. So let's have a little
quick question, Emily. Do you have to keep it clean? Like, is it?
Fantastic question, Barney. So how we go about our sorting and recycling is everything's done by hand, our end. I will talk you through that process in a moment, but just to brief on it quickly, we take it to our depots. We have them in each state where they actually sort and clean, take the labels off. So all of our plastic is really 100% wanted by recyclers because it's so perfect and pristine. So we start that process our end. Thanks for that question, Barney. Okay, so let's have a little look at the video. This is about Dresden.
Well, I've always been inspired by the cradle to cradle philosophy that in nature there is no wastage. I think if we start thinking like that, then the world will be a better place.
Clients are becoming more and more eco-conscious and, more importantly, sustainably minded. What does that mean? It means consumers are really caring not only about the planet, but the communities around them and the progress within those businesses.
Sustainable Salons is a recycling program for the hair and beauty industry, specifically designed for the salon environment. Everything that we collect, we find a repurposing solution, and 100% of the proceeds that we collect from recycling are donated to charitable organizations.
So Dresden is revolutionising how people get eyewear. Essentially, we're making prescription glasses really strong, tough, durable, modular, so you can replace any component of it, and also affordable.
We first met the guys at Dresden over 4 years ago. I was actually just walking past their shop in Newtown. It caught my eye, and then I felt like I just had to walk in and say hello.
What's so extraordinary is like you work away on a business where you've got this vision of fully recycling glasses, and along comes Sustainable Salons that is essentially been working on the same thing from another perspective, and they come together and it's like it's a match made in heaven. It's just a lifelong quest for me of like knowing that we can actually use everything.
So a product like this really begins for us with looking at the feedstock. Because the plastics industry is geared towards really large volumes, it can be quite difficult to find the right feedstock in the right quantity, but also in the right quality.
When you walk into a salon, you see all types of plastic, from shampoo bottles to water bottles, peroxide bottles, even combs. You name it, it's probably made from plastic.
So shampoo bottles are actually made from quite an amazing material, flexible and really forgiving, yet it can be really durable if treated correctly. Also, they just came in at the perfect time really, and it's quite difficult for us to find feedstock in the right quality and quantity, and Sustainable Salons really ticked all the boxes with it. So when dealing with recycled plastics, it can be quite difficult at times. Because they've already been through one iteration of being recycled, they quite often lose certain characteristics or capabilities. So when we got those initial test results showing really strong durability, we're actually quite surprised.
The loop story begins when a client enters a Sustainable Salon and has a shampoo service. The shampoo bottles are then collected by a Sustainable Salons driver and then sent back to one of its depots across Australia and New Zealand. The bottles are then cleaned and all stickers are then removed and prepared for recycling.
So now the shampoo bottles are sent to be pelletized and dyed black. The pellets are heated up and injected into our Dresden molds. And that's how the shampoo collection came to life.
What we've been really striving for is to get the quality of the recycled product as close as we can to the virgin product. So that means from a finish and from a durability perspective, and also from the look of it, and also that interchangeability. And these are the best recycled frames we've produced yet.
The shampoo collection represents innovation in plastic waste. It's an incredible collaboration that we can showcase to the world that really cool products can be made and don't need to be wasted.
I hope what it means for the customer is a connection through to the story of actually where the things that we use go. Because at the moment, like you use something like a shampoo bottle and it just disappears, and this is really about connecting everything up.
So for us, the concept of the closed loop product is so exciting because we're able to change things up completely in terms of reusability. If you, for example, break your frame, we can feed it right back into our manufacturing loop and make a new pair of Dresdens for somebody else to use.
Absolute honoured to be a small part of my contribution to the recycling world in such a major term, I think, in a major part of it, because I don't have children, but I have nieces and nephews that are having children. So their future has a future. And the guys here, their young staff, the young guys, are so excited about it because they all want to contribute. And it's lovely that it is a new way of doing things. And it's so exciting.
This should become a template, not just for what we do, but for other industries, and not just in Australia, but around the world. That's what we're trying to do, is to actually show that not only is it great, but it's also possible for other industries.
So our member salons are super excited that they're not only doing the right thing by recycling their shampoo bottles with us, they're actually now also letting their clients know that by visiting their salon, they can get a great discount to go and purchase the world's first sunglasses made out of shampoo bottles. People can find a sustainable salon in their area on our salon locator on the website.
The shampoo collection will be available globally across all of our stores and online.
What would make sunglasses made from shampoo bottles attractive? Well, I don't know. It's made from shampoo bottles. How cool is that?
I love my glasses, and they have a meaning. They have a purpose. They don't just help me see. They were made from shampoo bottles. I mean, how amazing is that? So it's something that isn't wasted. It's something that's become something. And I think that's just mind-blowing to me, mind-blowing, and honoured.
Fantastic. So listen, I've just seen Jane, thank you for asking me some questions in the chat there. And I will get back to you with those in a moment. But these are the cool Dresden glasses that you can see here. And yeah, it is totally cool that you didn't know that this is actually available to you from hairdressing salons in our industry. So this is the shampoo collection here. You can see Paul's little photo down the bottom there. He has very cool hair. And so they actually make reading glasses as well as sunglasses, all different colors, etc. I'm not really a great model for that, but there you go, that's those ones. And this is the pellets that they were talking about. So as you saw, and Barney sort of like plays to your question before, is that these, they love our products, that we can, our resources, because they're so clean and everything is really taken care of individually. So taken by hand by our collection drivers from the salons to our depots, where it's actually sorted and separated and sent to the right areas that it needs to go to for recycling and repurposing processes. I don't know if you can see. These are the little pellets here. So either your plastic is either made into pellets or it's either shredded, depending on what the process they're going to do with that next level, and you know, obviously making it into something different. Jane, you also asked about do salons pay a fee to join sustainable salons? Our salons don't pay a fee, but there is a surcharge. So it's called a green fee that is on to our clients that come into the salon. So it's a $2 green fee, and that just means that 95% of all of your resources that we use without in your hair process or your beauty time, etc., goes to sustainability and making a difference with that, which is incredible. Okay, so we've got here 153,090 meals have been provided to Oz Harvest and Kiwi Harvest from our salons recycling purposes. So it's kind of incredible to think that when we take all of the resources from the salon and we sell it to our recyclers for their ongoing maintenance and making of products, that all of that money that is generated goes 100% to Oz Harvest and Kiwi Harvest, which is really incredible. Thanks, Barney, that is very inspiring, the video. It's really cool to know that it makes a difference. This part is beautiful too. So I'm sure, actually I am sure, everyone is familiar with Oz Harvest and Kiwi Harvest. That started in 2015, gosh, I can't remember the year that she started, but she basically came from doing corporate events and seeing that was such a waste issue with food. And from that, she thought that's just not good enough. So she actually personally drove around Sydney homeless shelters and gave the food that hadn't been utilised to the shelters. And so from there sprung Oz Harvest and Kiwi Harvest. So we absolutely love what they do there and we want to support them. So every time that we do a full head of foils, for example, in the salon, it equates to a quarter of meal for someone who may need it, which is really incredible. So I'm just going to have a little look at questions I can just see coming through. Okay, so if you don't own, thank you for this question, Lily. If you don't own a salon, that's okay. You can just go and support a sustainable salon. So anyone who is sustainable, is part of the sustainable salons is found on our website. So you can just put your postcode in there and find a sustainable salon that's close by to you. They're very much a branded salon. So you'll see a sustainable salon. You can see on my t-shirt, you'll see one of these logos at the front window to let you know that they are sustainable. So you can just be supporting us through choosing where you go. So whether it's getting your hair done or a beauty service or maybe pet grooming, etc. We also take pet grooming here, which is incredible. So definitely look for what you need on our salon locator, and that will direct you where you can come and support us. Sorry, another question here. Do sustainable salons provide separate bins or separating containers that salons need to use? Yes, that we do. So just behind me here, I don't know if you can see these guys. We have in-salon separation bins, which keeps it really perfect for us to come and collect. So basically we have 4 main bins, which is paper, metals, hair, and plastics. And so what the guys do is they keep all of their like-minded products in that bin. We ask them to use light or clear colored bags so that when we come and collect them and have a look, we can see exactly what's in it, making sure it hasn't been commingled, which is really important. And so once they've filled up their bins in Salon, they basically go and put it into a big purple bin. We call it the big purple sexy bin outside, and that's just waits to get collected by us every 2 weeks. Thanks, Lida. Yep, definitely jump on the Salon locator. So yeah, that's as easy as it is. We also take chemicals, so the chemical bucket up there. So everything is separated at the source to make sure it's in pristine condition for the next processes. And that's what makes us unique. Okay, so thanks, Jane. I might move over for the next PowerPoint. Great. Oh my God, this is a fun one. Okay, so hair is kind of incredible, and I think unless you're a hairdresser you don't find it creepy. I mean, we're just so used to it, it's not really a big issue. But hair has been considered a waste product, and it's a natural product. It's not going to stop being created. So having this diversity or scientists looking at this and saying, how can we make this sustainable? How can we change this product from something that we just consider a waste stream to a resource? So I'm going to share a couple of things with you here. So it started with the UTS in Sydney, and there was a lady there who decided to connect with sustainable salons and look at hair as an opportunity to be used to soak up oil if there's oil spills in the oceans, etc. So the hair boom was created. I'm just going to jump down here and show you. So this is a hair boom. It looks like a massive sausage, as you can see, and it's stuffed full of hair. And you remember the stats that I gave you about how much hair we've kept in circulation, over 28,000. So we have these stockpiled in Sydney Depot, and they're fantastic to be used to soak up the oil. They just lay it on the water, and it can soak up to 4 times and be reused 4 times, which is incredible. With the hair boom, it's stuffed full of human and pet hair, and I have a beautiful dog here, and my first hair boom was loved way too much by my doggy, so I had to get a second replacement because obviously there was pet hair stuffed in there also, so that was quite funny. So I think finding that you can use hair as a resource is incredible. Currently, someone's looked up the locator. That's fantastic. sustainablesalons.org. Thanks, Lily, for putting that in. So yes, with hair, also the plumbing industry is looking at it as ways to help with their waste products and containing it because it's such a good absorbent quality. So we're just going to flick over into the next movie to see some more. Thanks, Jane.
Here's how it usually goes. You get a haircut, your locks get swept up from the floor, thrown in the bin, and then they become landfill. But what if that's a huge waste? Right now, tons of hair is being stockpiled around Australia for its use in environmental disasters. And that's just the start of it. We're only just discovering hair can be used for things like technology and energy. So have we just been throwing away our most untapped sustainable resource? Hair is fashion, it's culture, it's identity, and in some cases, it's sacred or sacrificed. The global and largely unregulated hair trade is estimated to be in the billions per year, but it's worth much, much more than that. I'll take you back to the Gulf of Mexico in 2010.
That massive oil slick now covering some 600 square miles of the Gulf of Mexico, and it could start reaching the United States coast within hours.
The Deepwater Horizon oil spill saw more than 200 million gallons leaked into the ocean across nearly 3 months. And hairdressers banded together to use hair in the cleanup. But why hair for an oil spill?
We use shampoo to take off the oil of our head, so all we're doing is now using the hair to soak up the oil.
Paul Frasca says it's kind of like a sponge. But Paul, how do you even use that sponge?
We're definitely not going out sprinkling the hair on top of the oil spill, right? So what's actually it is, it's a boom is essentially like a big sausage, and each boom we know can soak up around about 4 litres of oil.
And get this, it's not just human hair in those booms. Your dog or cat fur can be used too. For the past 6 years, Paul Frasca's organisation, Sustainable Salons, has been pairing up with more than 1,000 shop fronts to collect and reuse chopped off locks. Right now, the organisation has 28 tonnes of hair stockpiled in case of an oil spill on the Great Barrier Reef. Globally, Paul says about $5 billion worth of oil spills into the ocean every year.
Okay, you're all done.
Thank you. Truth is though, hair gets way more cutting edge.
And for the first time in the world, a team of scientists in Australia have used human hair to generate light.
Yeah, they made luminescent hair, basically. And that luminescent hair could one day be used in your smartwatch or maybe even your television. So hair is made up of about 45% carbon and a bunch of other stuff like sulfur. You know that smell of burning hair? That's the sulfur. The QUT team basically melts hair in the lab until what's left is very nearly all tiny carbon dots that look nothing like hair at all. Then they add agents to it to help make it fluorescent. That is amazing, Amandeep, but I want to know how you came up with the idea to use hair for this in the first place.
I'm a Sikh, so hair in my culture is, we believe it is very sacred. So we keep our hair, we don't cut it. So I said, why not? Why I'm throwing it? I should try to convert them into something else.
Amandeep Singh is a PhD student breaking ground at QUT. He says hair is cheaper and more sustainable than the metals we use in smart devices at the moment. Now the hair carbon dots are being used in solar panels to make them more stable and efficient. And it won't stop there either.
Can we extend the lifetime of a panel? Can we increase its capability? Can we prevent it from going into the garbage?
But for some reason, and probably because hair gets weird and creepy as soon as it's off your head, we've largely ignored its potential. The thing is, the future could be your own hair lighting up your smartwatch or your dog's hair cleaning up an oil spill. So should we all be thinking twice about sending our locks to landfill?
So there we go, guys. I mean, isn't that incredible? We should think twice about sending our hair to landfill. It doesn't need to be there. And we do have another repurpose option, and we are constantly looking at developing new ways here at Sustainable Salons to repurpose and recycle things constantly, which is amazing. I think, becoming carbon dots with hair is just mind-blowing, but why not? Why not push these boundaries? I think it's absolutely exciting to see where we're going to head with this. So yes, when you're a part of a sustainable salon or you attend a sustainable salon, all of your hair is gathered and it has a repurpose cycle, which is amazing. Okay, also with the people and planet and profit part about sustainability, the people part is also here. At our depot, we actually employ over 50% of our workforce at the depot, have people with disabilities. They absolutely love their jobs, and it's so important that they have that stability of a wage and an income and being part of the community, and it's what we believe. So we really make sure that happens at our end, which is fantastic. So this is a picture of Jeff, who's in the Sydney depot. And he has personally gone around and collected over 4,000 cans from his home and around his area and done the cash to cans. Sorry, Victoria, that isn't here as yet, but in New South Wales, you get 10 cents per, and also South Australia, 10 cents per bottle, and he's given that to charity. So he's raised over $400 himself personally, not only just working at the depot and doing his part for sustainability here, he does take it home and ensures that he does his different part there as well. Sorry, I just had another question here. Oh, fabulous. So I just had a conversation with James, and his salon next to his cafe is a member of Sustainable Salons. So there you go, very exciting. Thank you very much for that. So I think it's really important to know that we do support people as well, which is beautiful, because it's important. Thank you very much, Jane. The other part that we do is we have 55 community events. Obviously, last year with COVID, it did sort of put a halt to all of our stuff that we could do behind the scenes. So these are charitable events. We got 250 volunteers to fulfill those roles, and we offered over 1,400 grooming services for those in need. So they were like little pop-up shops that came up, which was one in Sydney, which is called Eat, Shop, Chop. So that's like-minded people like us who come in and they offered clothes, they gave grooming services of like nails and hair to those who need it. And I think we all believe, otherwise we wouldn't be having this conversation, that a community that supports each other is a better community. So that's really important for us. So yeah, that's a nice little statistic for you there. Thanks, Jane. Now, ponytails for all of you guys out there and girls. So if you are ever thinking about having a big haircut, I really want you to keep this in mind. So this is ponytails. Now, ponytails, we're the biggest collector in the Southern Hemisphere for ponytails, and we actually give them to charitable companies to make wigs. Now, I will show you a movie in a minute about that, but just so you'll know for your own interest, if you're losing 20 centimeters of hair, please keep it. So you can find a sustainable salon and they'll help you do this and do a ponytail donation. The Holy Grail, which is the epitome of all epitome, is 36 centimeters of virgin hair. So if you're going to have a big chop, make sure you make it worth something, because it does make a difference. So all of the ponytails, as I said, we give to charities and they make it into wigs for children in need. So we're affiliated with the AAAF, the Australian Areata Alopecia Foundation, and also the Variety Children's Foundation. So it's really important for us to close that loop there as well by collecting the ponytails and giving them a second life for kids who need it. So we might move on to the video. Thanks, Jane. And I'll come back and talk a bit more.
When people normally see that I don't have hair, they normally like ignore the fact that I don't have hair, call me pretty, comment behind my back where I don't know, or I just don't, or they just don't look, or they just stare.
When Matilda first started losing her hair, it was quite a big shock. I didn't know what was going on. A lot of doctors that we went to did say that it was stress related, but I don't understand the stress that she would be having. So I went to a lot of different doctors until I finally found the one that told me what even alopecia was.
Alopecia is when your body is fighting your hair follicles. So your body sends up all its white blood cells to fight them, and then it just pushes out all your hair because it thinks it's a foreign object and it doesn't want it.
It is hard, and it is only because it affects her in a way. Sometimes people in the street will look and stare, and not everyone knows what alopecia is, and not everyone is actually judging. They're just curious.
When I go to school, I sometimes wear wigs, but the longest I've lasted with the wig is till lunchtime because it gets too itchy. You know the hair that they have on dolls? That's the hair that they have on wigs, fake haired wigs, and that can cause it to itch on your head as well.
Matilda's getting a wig made and I am so excited about it. I can't wait to start playing with her hair again, because I do remember doing some things even though she hated me playing with her hair because it always hurt. But this time I get to play with her hair and it's not going to hurt her head.
My name is Paul Frasker and I'm the co-founder of Sustainable Salons Australia. Basically, we take anything out of the salon that can be recycled, which is pretty much everything, and then we bring it back to our depots for recycling. So we collect everything from hair clippings, even pet fur, and we collect ponytails. Hair is actually more valuable than gold when you collect it as a ponytail. When we first heard about Matilda and that she had a synthetic wig, we felt it was our responsibility to make sure that we would provide some really good quality human hair over to a good friend of ours, Rachel, who actually owns a sustainable salon and is a wig maker, and she put her hand up straight away to want to make this wig for Matilda.
My name is Rachel Walker. I'm the director of Chili Couture, Pure Hair Indulgence and Mr Walker's Wiggery here in Perth. Chili Couture was WA's first sustainable salon, and probably one of their proudest members. So I started Mr Walker's Wiggery because having hair makes women and men feel good, and I knew that I could help them.
I can't even imagine what it must feel like for an 11-year-old girl to wake up one day and to have clumps of hair coming out in the shower and then realising that you're actually losing all your hair.
So I wanted to make a wig for Matilda so that she could feel really confident and feel really free to be herself at school.
Yes, I am very excited to get a new wig from Rachel. I've never seen a wig being made before. It'd be really nice to experience, something I've never experienced before. You're so pretty.
Hello! You must be Matilda. I'm Rachel. Nice to meet you. So the first stage when we make a mould of somebody's head, it's really important to do this correctly because no one's head is symmetrical, no one's head is perfect. They've all got different shapes and lumps. So it's really important to get that right because you want to have the wig fit really, really snugly. So when the first day Matilda came in, that's what we did for her. We took a mould of her head and we took her measurements exactly, which I then transferred onto the wig block and packed out with foam so that what I had to work with was like I was having Matilda sitting in front of me.
Looks like a brain with eyebrows.
When I got home from her yesterday, I made my head block with the mould that I made from her head. So this is the shape of her head exactly. And then what I do is I map out where all the netting is going to go. This is make or break on your wig because mapping out where it's all going to go and how it's going to mould around the head is really important.
So where does Matilda's hair come from? Well, it comes from a whole range of different sources. We have hundreds of people sending in hair all the time. Now when all that hair gets collected, it takes 20 ponytails to make one wig. The grading process of hair is really interesting because most people don't realise is that they all have to be put into separate groups and it all really depends on a few factors. One is the length, the other is on whether it's coloured or not. And once we can determine these factors, well, we know the specific wig makers and charities that really need that hair and that we can provide it to them as quickly as possible.
So the second stage of making the wig really starts with drawing the hair. So you've got to sort through all of your ponytails. And then with Matilda's hair, I made the wefts. So I hand-made the wefts that were going to go into the back of the hair. To make a weft, it's going to take me about an hour because I only work with very fine strands of hair, maybe about 10 to 15 strands of hair at a time. Stage 3 is actually all of the ventilating, which is hand knotting the hair, sewing in wefts and the final wig construction. So when you're making a wig, one of the most challenging parts is ventilating. It's very repetitive and very painstaking, and it's the process of knotting a single strand of hair at a time into the Swiss lace. This took me an hour to do. I wouldn't even begin to count how many strands of hair. In a normal person's hair, there's around about 100,000 strands of hair on average. I think we do sometimes get pretty close to that with wig making, but it would be well upwards of 50,000 strands in a wig easily. A wig can cost anywhere between $2,500 right through to $25,000, depending on how much of the wig is ventilated. For an example, for Matilda's wig, I would sell that through at around about $10,000 to $12,000. There she is. I was actually nervous about Matilda seeing the wig. Every wig maker has a little bit of fear the day before handover. Will it fit? Is she going to like it? You've spent so much time on this and you've really poured your heart into creating this beautiful piece of hair art, and you really want someone to love it as much as you've put your love into it. Yeah, I was nervous. Oh, it was amazing. Seeing her really happy, the fact that the wig fit her like a glove, that made me very happy. And it's the culmination of all of your work. It's beautiful looking at something that you've created and you've poured your heart into and putting it on and seeing her just blossom. That just makes you feel so good.
I feel like I have actual real hair now.
I wish that Matilda feels normal as a teenage girl can feel, and has the confidence that every teenager has going out into the world, going to school, going to social events, and feeling like she's normal.
I like being bald because it's fun. I'm different. I'm not someone else. I'm not pretending to be anyone and I feel way more freer.
From what I've learned about collecting hair for medical wigs, is the hair doesn't define who these people are. It just helps them get on with their life. It can take up to 8 weeks to make a wig. So there's a lot of labour that goes into actually producing that wig, but collecting the resource, which is of course the hair, well, that's a big part of it. And getting high quality can actually make up 50% of the cost of actually even making the wig.
If you're cutting more than 20 or 30 centimetres off your hair, people need that hair. For people who've lost their hair, it's really hard, and you might take it for granted that you have hair, and it might not be that important to you, but it can be really important and life-changing to somebody else.
Hundreds of people are cutting off their hair every day, and hairdressers, it's our responsibility to make sure that we can spot that hair that's been cut off that is of good grade and can be used on a medical wig. Honestly, hair should not be looked at as a waste product. It's our future resource.
That is absolutely a beautiful story, and thank you for your little conversations in the chat. Yeah, it is very inspirational, and you are all part of this. You have the knowledge, you know how if you are going to have a big chop, it does make a difference for the people who need it. So please make sure you collect all of your ponytails by either finding a sustainable salon and supporting them. Also, they will take you through a process. I'm just going to show you something quickly, if I may. So what happens is when you come into a sustainable salon, you'll fill out one of these forms, which is a donation form, just telling us about the hair, etc. Your sustainable salon will bag the ponytails up and send them back to us. So they just get platted into these little groups with the centimeters and whether it's virgin hair, whether it's been colored, etc., all of the details. They'll definitely take a photo of you with a certificate to say thank you so much for being part of sustainable salons and making a difference, especially with the ponytail donations. So remember, if you know someone who's going to have a big chop, make sure that you collect it. 36 centimeters is the holy grail of all ponytails that we receive. So even if you want to grow your hair and then donate it, we'd love to see that happening too. So let's get amongst it. Okay, thanks, Jane. So I'm asking you as a call of action to support the disruptor and to be the disruptor. I suppose Sustainable Salons was born back in 2015. It was so important to Paul and Evelina to make a difference, to stop the waste and to make it a resource and to make a difference not only for the planet but people, and just to be a different stream for us to grow and develop together as a community. So thank you so much for your time. today. I think I'll open it up to just any questions that you may have with the support of making sustainable salons and waste history. So, Barney?
Wonderful, Emily. I have one question, and thank you so much for all of your work. I did a quick Google search during one of the videos, and apparently there's 13,400 salons across all of the states in Australia. And I'm a firm believer, and I'm trying my best to contribute to creating a blueprint for land restoration up in Queensland. And similar to the magic that you're creating, I'm curious, how can we help support? And clearly you have an amazing team, but how can we help support, even half of those, even 6,000 or 5,000 or 3,000 of those 13,400 salons? It just doesn't make sense that they wouldn't be doing what all of the things that you shared between the 8 different waste materials that you're dealing with, or connecting it to creating wigs for people in need. How can we help support broadcasting the blueprint that is sustainable salons, and maybe just touching a bit on that, on how you guys are thinking on that scalability side, because 13,400 salons is a lot, and imagine the tons of waste that we could help protect just in that sector alone.
Absolutely. And Barney, that's a beautiful question. Thank you so much. Obviously you saw in the videos that our search drive is the largest for salon locators for finding sustainable salons. I think, if you're visiting a salon, whether it's beauty, dermal, hair or pet grooming, and they are not a sustainable salon, maybe even having that conversation with them about, hey, have you heard of this movement? The wonderful thing about sustainable salons is it's just getting such traction. Here in Victoria, we're just getting phone calls every day about becoming sustainable. It's being built into our education platforms as well for new people. So I think having that conversation is really important. So if you're going to a venue and they're not sustainable salons, and they could be, absolutely have that conversation, will be amazing with them. Even I've had people who have called up and said, we want to donate hair, how do we go about it? So that's consumer use, which is beautiful. We're here to help. So you'll find we have our phone numbers and details at the bottom of our website. So please feel free to reach out with us as well.
Wonderful. And building on that, I know Jane has a question here, do sustainable salons provide separate bins or separating containers that salons need to use? What makes it easy for salons to make the change, especially if they're extremely busy or trying to get on day to day? And just to add on Jane's wonderful question, I live up very off-grid in rural Queensland, and my nearest salon is in Mossman, which has only got 2,000 people in it, and our shire's only got 14,000 people in it. And if you're dealing with something like that, where it doesn't necessarily have the intake facilities, building off Jane's question, is there a way that we can still encourage all of the amazing work that you're doing? Do they have to kind of bundle it together and then bring it into the big town, or how can we use these separate bins and the reality of some people living in rural places to still drive forward this really important movement?
Beautiful. And it's so exciting because we have just started a program called Link, and that's for our regional areas. So basically what happens for us is when someone becomes a sustainable salon, yes, they're given these bins here for the separation. They're given obviously education on how to do it and how to separate at the source. So that's the key component for us. Everything is separated at the source, keeping it really clean, so that when we collect it, whether it's in metro areas, we have people who come around in a van who do the collection every 2 weeks. But thankfully for you and up your area, Barney, is we have this program called Link, where they actually have a big bag that they keep in the salon. It's waterproof material, and they put all of their resources into the bag, and it's an on-demand collection service. So once that bag's full, they scan the code and we send another bag out, and someone will come to collect their waste stream, which is obviously a resource stream now. So it's open to all regional areas now. Thankfully, we're just sort of doing it state by state at the moment. So we're in regional New South Wales, regional Victoria and Tasmania, and then we're just going to broaden our scope more and more, which is amazing. So it is coming, and it will be on a demand service for those people who are outside of metro areas. is that basically what you asked me?
It was, and I think, you know, there's another question here from Lily, you know, I don't own a salon, but how can I contribute to sustainable salons and encourage my salon to participate? And, you know, just checking out your website, you know, maybe I can see I've just added the impact section, and then maybe, you know, the get involved section here. But is there a kind of a sort of one hit wonder PDF or a sort of 2-page document that we can sort of print out, and, you know, I look like a sheep in about another month when I need a haircut, when I'm all sheeped up and walking into the hairdressers, you know, is there something that we can physically print out? Because I think, you know, giving someone a website link is one thing, but I would definitely encourage, and it would be useful. And I know 2 salon owners up north, one in Cairns and one in Mossman. And I would definitely, if there's a resource that kind of summarizes our impact, and then, you know, become a sustainable salon, and maybe putting a QR code where they can, you know, on the printout, they can take a photo, and then it goes to become a sustainable salon. I think that would be valuable. And obviously, you know, we don't need to be printing out pages upon pages, pages, but even if it's just a 1-pager, or, you know, a reverse 1-pager, you know, something on the front, something on the back, just to make it easy for us to walk in and be like, you know, thanks for an awesome haircut, or maybe we can be selling while we're in the chair, you know, hopefully we won't get our ears chopped off, but you know, when we're getting that haircut done, we can be talking about sustainable salons, and then maybe at the end, you know, sort of coming out of the shirt, this is something I prepared earlier. I would definitely encourage that kind of 1-pager printout, because I will definitely go into 2 salons that I go to and hand them that. So just a heads up on that.
Absolutely. So on the website, we have an education hub, and that has social tiles as well. So you can actually just download the sustainable impact, the statements, etc. And that's a really good maybe way to use it, so you're not printing off. You can also print off the resources in that portal as well. We did mention, but I didn't show you guys, we do have a newspaper called The Green Chair that comes out once a year. So for you guys, I mean, I'm sure I can send one out to you if you'd like to have that as well, because it's got heaps of information in there about sustainability, what difference we've made, the processes, etc. So that might be really great. But Bunny, I've got a bit of a challenge for you, because I think you should grow your hair so you can donate it.
I mean, if people want to have a bit of sheep hair, I could definitely consider it.
All hair is valuable.
Sideways before it goes down, you know. I look like the Sideshow Bob in about a month.
Coming into winter, it's beanie season, so beanie on, you'll be fine.
Okay, I like that challenge. Well, beyond grateful for your energy and enthusiasm, Emily. I think we've got to go to our next section here and get ready for the Chamber of Commerce presentation. But you know, I don't want to end on a shaggy sheep note. So maybe, you know, what's a kind of a final note that you're sort of really hopeful about with where Australia and Victoria and generally, you know, what are you hopeful about for the future, and just what would you like to share with anyone listening right now?
I'm really hopeful for the future that everyone gets on board in sustainable salons in particular, and sustainability for the future. It's about being aware of our waste consumption and making a difference with that. So having a green fee and being open to paying for that, because you know the difference it makes with people, planet and profit to keep sustainability moving forward. That's my dream. So everyone, thank you so much for listening. I hope that you have a great rest of the Forever Fest, and we're always here if you need. Thanks from Sustainable Salons.
Cheers, Emily, and looking forward to that 1-pager, so we can go, and I'll keep you posted if I can get the hair going a bit. So
please do.
All the best, and
take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.